Let's now bring in co-founder and CEO of All In Together, Lauren Leader, Pablo Torre, and Jen Palmieri back with us as well. And Jen, let's talk Michigan. Because a lot of things happening there at once, and you also love Michigan. We have the Democratic primary next week in the Senate race, highly anticipated.
August.
There's a debate tonight, I believe, in that race. We have Trump making a rare domestic political trip to that state, showing its importance. And the backdrop, of course, is this. That bridge is now a visible reminder. It's physical. We can see it. A reminder of his trade war and why it's not working for most Americans.
Yeah, and when you go to Michigan, you still see even the furniture stores will advertise about tariffs, right? Like it's a very present thing. It's not very popular there. People are really frustrated there. I don't really understand. Maybe he considers Michigan to be a better option than other options, but it's not a great option for him to.
And Pablo, this is also
not going to help the Republican candidates there.
It would seem not, and
unless
also,
in the primary. That's it.
Right, and the president heading there to tout gains in manufacturing that just aren't borne out by the numbers.
Yeah, I think at a certain point, the question is whether he has. And this is a political term of art, Jen, you're familiar with, whether he has the juice anymore when it comes to persuading everyday struggling Americans that what you are feeling and seeing in your pocketbook is actually an illusion, right? Don't pay attention to the bridge that's making nobody money. That is actually this metaphor made real.
And it's just like people are just, I just feel like I've been in Georgia, Texas, North Carolina the last 3 weeks. He's just like, not a factor, right? He's just not a factor in these races. He's not a factor in the Senate races. He's just like, people are just
maybe that's why he's going, is because he can't stand to not be a factor. I mean, especially in a race like with Mike Rogers, this is a guy who has not essentially, look, all Republicans embrace the president, but Mike has his own identity in the state of Michigan, and he's got two very, very different primary challengers. This story about Michigan has been completely about these rifts between the sort of, DSA-backed left-leaning candidates and Haley Stevens, who's endorsed by the governor. And, he can't stand not being part of the story. And so there he goes inserting himself. But I think you're right. The question is, does it make any difference at all, especially when then the focus is really this Democratic primary?
Yeah, significant, though not surprising endorsement for Governor Whitner in that race. But you're right. It's certainly that is a state that a lot of Democrats have looked at. They feel so bullish elsewhere on the map, and they could here too. But there's just an uncertainty that one because this primary is so close, because there are so deep divides between these two candidates in a race that's frankly gotten kind of a little bit nasty. So we'll see how that plays out. But again, that's still a couple of weeks away. Meanwhile, though, there's new reporting on the dire financial situation for the Democratic National Committee, now with less than 100 days until the midterm elections. The New York Times reports that the Democratic Party is so short on cash that leaders are asking vendors to not send bills until actually after the midterm elections. The newspaper spoke to 3 people briefed on the move who called it a bookkeeping maneuver. The paper also highlights the cash disparity between the two parties, noting that President Trump controls a $400 million super PAC, that the RNC committee is sitting on nearly $130 million, while the DNC is $2 million in debt. The news outlet Notice also has new reporting on the DNC putting its physical headquarters up for collateral last year in order to obtain a $15 million line of credit to help invest in off-year elections. The Times also details the chaos inside the DNC centered around Chairman Ken Martin. According to interviews with more than 24 Democrats, Martin, the paper finds, has found himself increasingly isolated, gripped by the fear that he will lose his job and relying on a vanishingly small circle of people he trusts. Also reporting from a couple of different outlets that there's an incident where he probably threw a phone at a desk. It's unclear how hard he threw it, but still threw a phone at a desk. Not the kind of thing you do.
Look.
Yeah, exactly. Not a good look.
I mean, listen, the DNC has had issues for a very long time. Let's be honest about it. And there's a lot of reasons for it. Do I think that Ken Martin has been the visionary, transformational leader? No, I don't think anyone would say that. He was elected to that post by insiders and by his peers. It's a very complicated process when you don't have a president a Democratic president in office who then appoints somebody. So it's a very different time. But look, what's different on the Democratic side is that you have all this whole other universe of Democratic organizations that do a lot of the work that people think the DNC should do. That's the Center for American Progress. That's groups like Emily's List. That's all these other groups which don't exist in the same way on the Republican side. So it's a lot easier for them to channel all their resources into the president's super PAC and into the RNC. The Democrats have a very different landscape. All of that being said, it's not great, and it's a terrible look. It's exactly the wrong press that Democrats want to have, and he is in trouble. He should be worried about this. I mean, nobody wants to see these headlines right now. It's a total distraction.
The thing, you know, to defend his theory was, I'm going to invest in state races and state infrastructure,
Which
and that is why that is why he was elected, and that is why he's in office. The truth is that the DNC, as we all it does not matter that much in midterm elections. What matters are the candidates themselves, and then the DCCC, the DSCC, what the DNC is doing this time in the cycle is raising money to give to other people. But in 2027, like, you can't have this in 2027. You can't, you know, that's the time.
They got to turn it around.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I was just going to say, like, there does feel like there's an inflection point, though, for the DNC right now, in which it embodies the sort of like sclerotic establishmentness, the incumbency that a lot of, like, whether it's Al Sayed in Michigan or whether it's just the DSA movement in general, there is a way, I think, an opportunity to respond to what is actually animating Americans. And Ken Martin, both in the aesthetics of the phone stuff as well as this story, it's very, very much the same is how it feels.
Yeah, we'll be following this storyline in the weeks ahead. Co-founder and CEO of All In Together, Lauren Leader. Lauren, thank you for joining us this morning. We appreciate it.